certain game passed down and it's more than one way. But I could see the hate in their eyes, what they gon' say. When you start to wake up and go and collect your prize, pray patience with the family. Hey, now do the work. Accountability hurts. He walking in his purpose, adds value to the work. She want a revolutionary, get on code necessary. Put in practice what we studied to defeat the adversary. So what? Speak the truth, we need our own establishments. If you grow your own food, true black empowerment. Let the church say amen, hallelujah, thank the Lord. For my brothers that be on the same accord, let's score. I live by Sankofa. Life as a soldier, never mess with the rollers. I be smoking no okra. I'm dipping in folders, wake 'em up like some Folgers. Fake woke, we exposure. Knowledge born, yeah, I told you. You and your crew is scary. You move, but moving barely. You shooting, don't be scary. Recruiting, then you bury. Revolutionary. Putting on for my people. Gatekeepers to leech you. Meet you, greet you with heaters. Oh, we burst some profits. No work, no progress. Is it worth the profit to divert to false shit? Rapid fire, Cassius liar, cap suppliers. I don't like to rap about them. Watch those Judas with the black messiahs.
All right. Peace. Back. Welcome back to the Griots Podcast. That song I played right there was by the Black family community, Brother Crondo and Brother Bilal, who's out there in Arkansas. I also have a write-up in the 6th edition about their entire album. But again, welcome back to the Griots Podcast. I'll let my beautiful sister introduce herself, and then we'll go down the line.
Hey, yo, what up, good and wonderful people? My name is Dr. Ashley Wade. I'm so happy to be here today. It's a special day. I am a pharmacist, owner of ADH Pharmacy Consulting. I'm also an author. I also am a curator and a community and literacy advocate. Salute to my people. What's up, y'all?
What up? We'll let our other beautiful. What we'll do is we'll just let our beautiful sisters just introduce themselves, beautiful. And then the men we'll just introduce ourselves afterwards.
Heavy on the beautiful out there to my women in the fall.
Yes, sir.
Hey then, well, I'm Genevieve. I am a poet and CEO of the Generation Network, where we combine poetry and mental health for Black people all over the world together. And I'm so excited to be here. I can't believe it's been 1 year already. I'm excited to be here with y'all beautiful Black people. Y'all are so beautiful, all of you.
I'll go next. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Charlotte. I am a multi-hyphenate creative and artist. I am a poet, an actress, a dancer, and I love all things arts. And so I'm excited to be here today, and thank you for having me.
This is Tony Thomas. I am a social worker, a teacher, and a history connoisseur, a travel connoisseur. I'm so proud of Vasili Magazine. I came on to help with the social media side. So I am looking forward to the growth, and I'm already amazed by what's happening.
My name is Isata. I am the curator and creator of the Instagram page, Dear B Love Me, where I write letters to B. B could be a book bestie, a book buddy. Really, it's Beverly Jenkins, but that's fine. You can feel special too. I am your resident nosy advocate. Y'all ain't nosy enough, and it shows the way y'all show up with these books. I like to discuss all things, but I love to pretend like I have no idea what nonfiction is and I act like it doesn't exist, but the footprint says otherwise. And I'm so excited to be here.
I guess I'll go next. I am the other Sean P on the chat, man. Sean P from the Sean P Experience, Sean P Experience podcast. Also, another part of the Griot podcast. Also, contributor to the Australian magazine. I am your movie, TV show guide, amongst other things, and community activist, scholar, historian, educator, amongst other things, man. And last but not least, to the head Thundercat, my brother Kofi.
Let Sean P go. Let this other
Yeah.
Sean.
The big Sean P. Yeah.
We got two Sean P.
Peace to everybody, man. I'm Sean P. Of the SH, not the ESE. I am a member of the Kofi Pieside research team and the Massa Warrior Clan research teams, advocate historian, independent researcher. I'm all about our people and our struggles and upliftment. And I'm going to fight for our identity and Africanness. So I appreciate being on the panel, and I'm ready for a good show.
No doubt, no doubt. And I am Kofi Piche. I'm also a member of the Kofi Piche research team. I am a member of the illustrious Masi Warrior Clan research team, where we research West African culture and tradition. I am an entrepreneur. I am the founder and editor of the Sele magazine. I'm an independent researcher, advocate, public speaker, amongst other things. So again, y'all, welcome to the Griot Podcast. This is going to be a powerful and impactful podcast. I think today we're going to be having a discussion. We'll be bringing people in and off the panel today to talk about various things and to celebrate the 6th issue of Asele magazine. Let me throw it up here real quick before we get in the discussion. Let me see if I can
And
find
throw
it.
them hand claps on there, Kofi.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give ourselves a round, if I can find round of applause.
Hey, we need all that. We need.
I need to get that sound effect
Yeah,
too.
we need all that.
But this is here the Asele 6th issue, Journey Towards Liberation. The featured interview is Baba Imhotep. Baba Imhotep is a activist. He is an organizer for the Race First rallies. He was the organizer for the Race First conference that was put on back in Baltimore this year. He's also the head of the PLM organization that he has, as well as the Shula Africana Shula, if I'm stand corrected, school. So him and his wife also has a school. So this brother is doing a lot of powerful and impactful things in our community to try to change some of our circumstances. So let's get into some of the discussions. Where these people on the panel, these beautiful people on the panel, are some of the ones that has been contributing for a long period of time from the jump. We have some that has been in and out that has been contributing to the magazine. I'll go first because I want to ask Charlotte something while she's on here. Sister Charlotte, what prompted you to want to be a part of the Asele magazine writing staff and just be a part of the Asele magazine project and overall? Because she's a new writer.
Well, I've always wanted to write, and I saw that Ashley was a part of the Silly magazine, and I started asking her just about like things when it comes to writing, and I thought you had to have a certain amount of knowledge or like credit to start writing, and um Ashley really inspired me. She was like, just start, just start writing. And I don't know, just seeing the different, Black artists, Black creatives that would be, that I would see on this, Instagram and stuff, made me want to be a part of it. And it encouraged me to like put myself out there, So and then just the community aspect of it, like our voices get to be heard, we get to learn from different people, and that to me is just so beautiful. So like the community aspect of it, yeah, that's what made me want to be a part of it.
No doubt, no doubt. We appreciate you being a part of the magazine as well. We definitely appreciate it. My wife say, "Hey everyone," and to the two Shuns. Yeah. All
Okay.
right, but all right. So I just want that was one of my questions. I definitely, and I probably asked Nick the same thing. It's a great thing, man, when you're doing something and then you don't even have to reach out to other people. People will reach out to you and want to be a part of
Yeah.
something when they see that you're definitely trying to do something. So I always wanted to ask you that question. You and Nick came on at the
Mhm.
same time and said y'all wanted to be involved, and every time we put an issue out, y'all definitely wanted to be a contributor to the magazine. And again, we definitely thank you both, and we thank everyone else. You know what I'm saying? Our day ones, because we have a lot of day ones on here as well, and some day ones that's gonna be popping in. But yeah, let's just get into it then, man. Sean, Tony, Dr. Ashley Wade, you got something, you start off. We can talk in any subject matter week, but we definitely want to talk on the crafting of writing, the role and importance of Black press, the art of storytelling and protecting our culture voices, representation and uplifting Black images as well, a part of this. So y'all can start wherever y'all want to start at and ask whoever y'all want to ask uh, the next question.
I'm gonna jump right in, and I'm so excited. Again, this is a great time to celebrate. Shout out to all the writers on the team. Like everybody's so creative. Isn't there like some type of meme that's like that's so creative? Like everybody's so creative, and so that's what makes it so dope to be a part of the team. So I want to ask Janavi a question. All right, here you go. Mm, why is positive and accurate representation so critical in today's media?
Ooh wee, man. Today's media, especially today, is already a mess. Um, it's so important to have positivity in it because all the negative is talking loud right now. Like we have a certain someone telling people that Black children shouldn't even know how to read before they, start a business. So it's very, very important for positive, images and positive people speaking out loud right now, especially in social media, because social media is it's just number one right now. So if we had more positivity right now, it would be, it'll be a phenomenon. I tried to be a part of the positivity, okay, um, and being part of this magazine just brought so much positivity in my life personally to make me want to really be a part of it, so I can be a positive image for everybody else. So yeah, it's definitely important in
I
today.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. And you're right, because like the accuracy of it, the truth telling of it,
Yeah.
what is actually happening. And then not only that, there's of course all this noise going on in the world, but like what are we doing? What are
Yeah.
our people doing? And it's amazing to see what people are doing. And so I think, to your point, it's easy to be positive when you are around people that are good like that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I appreciate your work and your contribution, because it'd be dope art. I love poets. I love artists. So like to me, that's a major contribution to a work
Yeah.
that people would probably think is scholarly. But like
Mhm.
your addition to it just makes it so important. So I'm glad that you answered that question the way you did.
Thank you for asking it.
All right, Sean, it's on you.
I got a question for the sister, dear B. You said in your intro that we aren't curious enough as readers, as consumers of information. How would you advise anybody watching this in the future How could they increase their curiosity? What could they do to dig in more into all the things that we're already ingesting? How do we get more curious? Is the question.
Thank you for the question. I think a lot of us grew up in a time where we were told that we shouldn't be heard, or we were told to get out grown folks' business, or we were just basically told go play anytime we asked a question. And not to the detriment of any parent, because you only work with what you have, right? So sometimes we would ask questions that were too hard, and if they didn't have the answer, it would be, "Why are you so nosy? Why are you always asking questions?" And so you were reprimanded. And the older you got, the more afraid you became to keep asking questions, especially for some people who internalize their age as a, I don't know, as a definition of something, or at my big age, I can't ask this, or I'm supposed to know this. And the reality is, none of us really don't know much more than we're willing to ask to find out. So, all I'm proposing is you start to ask questions like, why? So many of us see things on social media, and Sean, you're well aware because the tangents I go on, we see things and we take it at face value because the person who said it stated it with such authority that we believe it to be true. But I can look at you right now, bold face lie, tell you that I have a PhD in anything. And then after I state this, go ahead and state something that's very incorrect. But I'll say it with so much bravado that you're like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, she preaching. I think most of us are so comfortable with being silent and just receiving because we feel like we lack the education, we lack the degrees to ask further questions, we lack the knowledge. In reality, you don't lack anything more than the next person. Okay, you don't have a degree, you still have a brain. You can still say, oh, this doesn't make sense. Can you explain further? And if that person gives you an attitude or they yell at you, that's fine. There's 50,000 other people that you can ask, billions actually. Go ask somebody else. But I think we should always continue to say, oh, well, why this? You see a news article. I was telling Sean a while ago, you see a news article that there is a tsunami coming somewhere. Why was it important that you, as an individual, opposite side of the world, why was it important enough for them to put that in there? How does this affect you directly? Should you be concerned with it? Why are there so many hurricanes or tsunamis? Why are they called something different? I feel like so many of us get older and we don't want to ask questions because we're busy. We got stuff to do. But I feel like the more questions we ask, the more stuff we start to know. Could it be to our detriment sometimes? Because I feel like I know a bit too much and still not enough, but you won't really get far if you don't continue to ask.
And before we move on, for the chat to know, we talk almost every day, all day. And I can ask her the craziest question in the world, and she has the answer. And my daily question is, how in the world do you know that? And she always said, because I'm nosy. It could be like anything. The Astros, dinosaurs, something in the deep ocean, whatever the topic, religion. It could be anything absurd. And she has the answer because she is perpetually curious is the point. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Tony, do you have anything you would like to ask any one of our panelists?
Of course. I wanted to ask Charlotte a question. I wanted to ask her, how can future generations benefit from the stories that we are, I guess, writing and preserving today? How do you see that benefiting the future generations?
Well, I think, well, for me, when I was in school, like, um, something that I struggled with was just like the way that I looked, and um, I didn't have a sense of identity. You know what I'm saying? As a young Black girl, so um, when I saw the Black Panthers, okay, first of all, they don't teach us our history in school, right? I saw something briefly about Malcolm X in class, and then I started looking it up, and then I ran into the Black Panthers, and like that's the thing, and really the only thing that started to, well, the only thing at that time that started to like give me courage, like as a person in general, you know what I'm saying? And so, like, when it comes to the stories, that we preserve, it's everything. Like, that's like who we are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it'll give them courage. It'll give them, uh, what is the word, clarity on which way they might want to go in life. It'll give them understanding of what has happened, what hasn't happened, what should happen. I think like I think preserving our stories can create like well-rounded people. You know what I'm saying? Because like if you don't know what has happened, you're missing something. In my opinion, it's like um well, from my experience, I have had this thing where I'm like, who am I really? Why am I here and stuff like that. So I mean I think it'll just create a well-rounded person if you know hear the stories um of the past, the present, the future, whatever, just story our stories. So yeah, that's how I feel like it'll benefit future generations.
Okay. I got a question for my brother Sean P, the SHAWN. um, my question, man, to you is how important is research and historical accuracy in the type of writing you do?
It's very important because if you're set out to answer questions about yourself, your history, your struggle, or just generalizing the sake of African history or the American experience, then you must have a methodology. In order to answer certain research questions, you have to be uh, skilled, I should say, because it does require skill, skilled in being able to follow that tree all the way down and challenge your biases. Most of us stop at our biases and only research to confirm our bias. And then
Mm,
those of us who push forward exceed to actually come to the truth. The truth is uneasy, it's unsettling. It will make you feel a certain way. It's emotional, it will bring emotions out of you in that moment. But that's when you know that you found the truth. And then after you found that truth, you come to the realization and you'll be able to move forward. So having a methodology, being able to answer those questions and applying that in your writing is very important, especially when you're dealing with us, because a lot of things that they say were hidden are not hidden; they're in plain sight. We must use our intellect and our tools to be able to tell our truth.
mm, appreciate that, man. That question, biases. I say that all the time when researching. We always talk about and preach research methodology. A lot of people don't understand what research methodology. They think when you researching something, they go on Google and Google something for 15 minutes and they say that is research. That is not proper research methodology. And even when we're researching things, right, you mentioned a key thing of biases. I have when researching, I have had my feelings hurt. You know what I'm saying? Where you say now you become emotional. Things that I thought that possibly was true was not true when I applied that proper research methodology and arrived to an answer that I didn't like, but I went into it without any biases and I looked at it from both sides of the coins. I looked at it from this perspective. I looked at it from that perspective. I didn't go into my research looking for the answers that I wanted to perceive or what I wanted, man. So I appreciate that answer, man. And I hope people took heed of what you just said. Go ahead, Sean. You want to say something?
So the sister Asada, if I'm saying your name correctly, she had mentioned about arguments online. That's one of the biggest festers in our community as it pertains to our activity on social media, is that we will quickly go to Google and try to find something to support our bias, or ask AI to summarize something in support of our bias. We can
Mm-hmm.
use these tools incorrectly and yield the answer that we need to screenshot it and then post it online. And therefore, that causes even further problems. So even if you do a deep dive, AI doesn't generate enough information for you to comprehend and fully understand what's going on. Therefore, you have to take those proper steps in answering those research questions. So instead of asking a search engine the answer to that, how about gathering the collective information and running through that information yourself before you jump out? I learned early in the Seshu Money Metanetra crew that you can't just find the topic, start up a live stream, or create a TikTok, and then that's the answer. We were taught to get the information, collect the data, go through it, and we would even go back and forth with information before it ever would make it to a YouTube video, a YouTube short, an Instagram live, or whatever the case, TikTok live, whatever case may be. So we have to retrain ourselves to stop being microwaved. I know we're in the era of microwave and what's the other machine that we use these days? Air fryers. I know we
Oh,
in
air fryer, boy.
yeah, that's how we're trying to do information, right? We air frying information these days, and we can't get into the habit of that because that'll lead us to a lie. And then when the truth is upon you, you look silly.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right. So we got 3 minutes before we go ahead. Go ahead, Sean. Sean.
I had a question for the sister, Divination, the fellow poet in the building. I had a question because from time memorial, the poets always were the ones that put a spotlight on the social justice, the social ills, whatever it is around the world, right? So, like, how important are poets in this time that we living in right now, and the things that are happening? How important are the poets?
Oh, the poets, especially the Black poets, are so much more important now than they ever been. Especially by us living in the Trump era right now, we are very important. Um, I heard a long time ago that the poets are the only ones that know the truth about us. So we're very much so important. We do a lot of research, especially when we're writing about what's going on in our communities. So it falls in line with, what Sean said. You got to do the research. You got to do the reading. You got to do the real work. You can't just go on Google and find a few words and then put it together. So poets is definitely very important today, especially for our community. Um, the research, when I tell you the research, I do a lot of reading and a lot of research. And a lot of times I will say it's not always easy. And I think that's why a lot of people don't want to do the work, because sometimes it is very difficult, especially now with the book bans. They banning books from the schools, from the libraries. They're locking up teachers for teaching certain curriculums because they banned it from the schools. So it's doing the research is a whole lot a lot harder now because of that. And the poets, man, when I tell you it's a struggle, but it's a good struggle. I'd rather go through the work and struggle to help my people through poetry as long as I possibly can than to do nothing, you know. And some of my favorite poets, Amiri Baraka and Maya Angelou, Sonia Sanchez, Nikki Giovanni, they were right there in the midst of everything that's going on with Black people. And now I think we have so many great group of poets now that's really doing the work out there in them streets. So, and I'm one of them, of course.
Yeah,
So,
but before y'all leave, I see the Drea in the building right now, another poet, right? And I told Drea for a while in private, she will read a 300 something book on Stokely Carmichael, but you
yeah.
might do a 1.5 or 2 minute poem. The average person might not sit down and read 400 something pages, but that 2 minutes you give them is all the story they're going to get. So that 2 minutes is just as important as that 400-page book. So the work that y'all doing that is vital, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. I do a good 400 or 600 page book, depends on what I'm reading about. I read a lot of monsters because to me that's where the real information is. Anytime you see a 600 page book, you're going to want to know what's in there. It's a lot, but what's in it? I want to know what's in there. It's apparently someone did a lot of research putting that book together. So I would like to, I hope I can write a 600 page book. And make y'all buy it.
So we got two. We got to swap out a few people. There's a person trying to join the panel right now. They can't get on. So within the next, we got Nicholas Hawkins. I think that might be Nick that's trying to get on. Obafemi, Drill, the Sunflower Poet. Joni's not gonna be able to make it. So one of y'all can stay on, but the rest will have to pop off so we can get the next panelists on the panel.
I got you. Hey, it's a pleasure, everybody. I appreciate the time and the space. Kofi, you always know it's love. Peace to everybody. Continue to share the show and like the show.
All right, man. Peace, man. Appreciate you coming on too,
Love
bro.
my boy. All right,
Thank
y'all.
you, everybody. Much love. See y'all later.
All right.
As we transition, I just want to say I'm so proud of everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm the one that comes through. I be in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? That's where I go first. And so like I'm just proud of every like individual writer and their growth. I mean, we are seeing a year of continuous writing, storytelling, connectivity, growing together, growing horizontal and upward because we're starting to, be in front of more people and share our stories in a beautiful way that's going to propel us because again these stories that we have need to be continuous, yeah, and how we present them is how we put our little razzle on there, each of us. And so I'm just so proud of everybody.
Yes. So Tony, we'll let you start with the next question if you got a questions for anybody on the panel right now. I'm finna see if that was Nick trying to get in. I'm finna try to tell him he can go ahead and pop on if that was him.
Sure. Who do we have here though? Who's on here right now?
We got Drill the Sunflower Poet and Obie Feeney.
Okay. Okay. Opafina, I'm gonna ask you, how do you balance being informative, creative, and authentic in your writing?
Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Yeah, I'm Brother Obafemi. So the question is, how do you remain authentic? What was the other part of the question?
Let me
I just
reread
want to
it
make
for you. Let me
yeah,
give it to you one more time so I can
right.
make sure it's right. Okay. Okay. My question was, how do you balance being informative, creative, and authentic in your writing?
Yeah. I will say for my writing, a lot of it is based on I would say research, but also implementation of what I'm writing about. So my personal experiences or have a lot to do with what I write about. So the particular article for this issue was about agriculture. So I've been involved with this since 2011. I've been growing. So as well as going to workshops, going to seminars, conferences, all of this. So I think taking in that firsthand information, but being hands-on with what I choose to write about gives a perspective that helps to, for one, keep me grounded, but also keep me balanced in my approach to what I write about.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I like that you said staying grounded because I write as well, and like that's always something I like to like tap into. Is like making sure um I'm giving like that real world kind of like that real life experience. So I like that.
Yeah. So um I did so I've written a children's book as well. And my children's book is pertaining to homeschooling. So again, like I've been homeschooling my children for about 7 years now. So like I said, the personal experience, but as well as doing research in early childhood development, researching. I worked in the elementary school for 6 years. I've been part of an after school program that I ran for 6 years. So personal experiences as well as doing research, studying, learning more about what I'm involved in helps to keep it, I would say, authentic as well. Because I'm not just taking somebody else's word. I'm using my own experiences with the information that I'm sharing.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Um, Drill, you must be having some technical difficulty. I'll pop you back in when I see you pop back on the panel. We have our brother Nicholas on the panel. Welcome, brother Nicholas.
Happy Sunday to everybody. It's good to be in community virtually.
Yes, sir.
Um, just got back from Louisiana, and I'm happy to be sharing space with you all.
No doubt, no doubt,
And
no
I'm
doubt.
even more excited about the 1 year anniversary, the sixth issue of Asili magazine.
Yes, 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 yes. It is definitely a celebration discussion and a celebration. Drea says you need to connect your mic before you can be added back to the screen. So connect your mic back to uh, the stream. Um, do you, brother Sean or Drea? I mean, Doctor, do y'all have a question for brother Nicholas? And also on the right hand side, while we're talking about the Selling magazine and we're discussing on the panel with some of the contributors, you see the QR code to your right hand side. So if you're wondering how can you get it, it is tagged in at the top in the thread. It's tagged at the top of the thread. Just go up to the thread, or you can go to the right where my brother is pointing at right now. Get your phone out and click the QR code. Sean is crazy. And click the QR code and it'll take you directly to the magazine. It is also in the description of on YouTube. So you got, various ways where you can go get the magazine right now if you don't know how to go get the magazine.
Call me Vanna Black.
But go ahead, Dr. Ashley Wade.
I'm tickled, but I'm not surprised for that, Sean P. All the way through it. So I do have a question for Nick. So first of all, welcome to the fold. Welcome to the chat. You are a new writer in Asili, and we appreciate your contribution. And I know that you do a unique type of storytelling, in my opinion, because it involves what we need to know on a political level, like where we need to be, what we need to be paying attention to. So my question for you is, what stories do you feel our community needs more of, and why?
Yes, that is a super important question. And I really, before I answer that, I want to start by saying thank you for bringing me as a political contributor for Sealing Magazine. Because education, as the brother who was just speaking about the importance of homeschooling and understanding how systems are built and work, it's active and I would argue the most effective tool for liberation. And I think that kind of segues into my response. I believe that a story, especially from the political lens, that we need to be really focusing on is the stories of triumph in our community at all scales. We oftentimes, I'm lying when I say that, we seldom hear about the successful revolutions of the Gaspar Yangas, who was a prince of Angola who was captured, liberated himself, went back home, and then brought a group of warriors to help liberate his entire plantation, or the Haitian Revolution with Dessalines and Toussaint. But we need to focus more so on more contemporary stories of fighting back against repression and really redefining what success looks like on our terms. I'm not going to get too radical in a sense that could get us like demonetized or deplatformed or anything. But when you think about those stories that they oftentimes do not want you to hear or know about or feel empowered because of, you have to think about what success look like. A quick glimpse of what I'm talking about is the story of Nat Turner. Did Nat Turner's story end in triumph as the conventional sense? Of course not. Let the record reflect, I believe he was devoured. He was torn limb by limb, and he didn't live to see the fruits of what he saw as his labor. But when we talk about developing a new culture and a revolutionary spirit, to confront repression head on, and not be afraid, but to do it while being afraid. That's something that I think that learning more about those stories and being honest with our history in a world of dishonesty is a moral imperative. And I'm kind of taking some tidbits from the good Reverend William Barber, and his Poor People's Campaign. He has these series called Moral Mondays. And one of the ones that touched me so deeply as of late is the courage to tell the truth in a world that is driven by lies. And as we take a step back and look at the way that society has come to form itself, especially in the 21st century, we have to reckon with the fact that the people that are in charge have been able to cement their positions by lying to us, by practicing subterfuge against the very same people that they have been entrusted to protect and guide. So I think that the community, and the reason why independent publications like Asili Mag and Same Tree Different Branch are so important is because we're able to tell our own stories with our own perspectives and not have
Mhm.
them told for us. So I could go deeper and deeper and deeper, but I do think out of respect for this question in particular, and if there's any like nuances you want me to diverge onto, I think I can stop it right there.
All right, before we go any further, Vasa has a question for you. But before I get into his question, um, we had everybody that was on. We let them formally introduce themselves for people that may not know who they were. So, Obafemi, could you introduce yourself, and then Nicholas, can you introduce yourself for people? Just let the people know exactly who you are, what you represent, what you're a part of, etc.
All right, appreciate it, man. So my name is Obafemi Kinsie Delele. I'm from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I am one half of the music group MCE, also co-founder of GSC Gardens, which is an urban farm here in Arkansas, and I'm also one of the article custodians of the Race First national movement. So,
Okay, brother Nicholas.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Nicholas Hawkins. I'm a political contributor for Asili Mag. I also run a few separate newsletters, such as the Maroon Dispatch, where I publish a monthly article in long form. Also, The Signal, which is on LinkedIn, where I publish weekly insights. I am a licensed financial professional, where I help community based organizations build collective wealth strategies to transition from extractive practices to inclusive systems and designs for our community's well being. I'm also the outgoing parliamentarian for the Dallas Fort Worth Urban League Young Professionals, and I also lead the research subcommittee for the National Urban League Young Professionals and their Advocacy and Action Committee. And also, very recently, Rising Junior at Texas Southern University, where I'm studying with a concentration on economics, public policy, and law.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. He says, this is for you, brother Nick. Um, Ask him if he thinks we can have success without creating our own standards to even measure what is success, or remain stuck operating from Eurocentric perspective of success.
That is a powerful question. And that is something that I think we absolutely can, and history shows is viable. When you look at, especially one of the things that I didn't mention previously, is I was a very early pioneer of leveraging blockchain, not to just count up and get rich, but to use the underlying technology as a system to empower communities to decentralize power. And that was something that I felt like directly aligns with the question, because success in the conventional terms, we didn't launch a token that we were looking to see go to $100,000 a coin. No, we created avenues for diverse young professionals across the diaspora to create their own communities that aligned in a model that we identified as a hub and spoke. The core ethos is how do we empower our community to have self determination? But the spoke might be a community garden next to a community investment trust that at times may intersect and partner with one another, but their success inherently looks different because the methods, the people that make up the group look different. And while we acknowledge there's that certain overlap at times, and we look to scale our impact through collective partnerships, we do want to create avenues that we could all run our own race, but do so to really build on the collective mission. It reminds me of an Al Sharpton quote that I got a few months ago. He said that for these legacy civil rights organizations, you could think of it as a road. You have your NAACPs, you have your national action networks, you have your national urban leagues. But what's more, how do you move faster on a 40-mile-an-hour road or on a 70 to 75-mile-an-hour 4-lane highway? So how can we have those roads be congruent with one another to where you can merge seamlessly? You could have your exits and on ramps be seamless. And I think that's what it looks like when we redefine success without having those stringent and very firm standards. It makes me think of the power of modularity and being flexible to the needs of the community. So I know that was another long drawn out answer. Y'all, I'm known for that, but it's because I care. And these are things that, as a steward for these organizations, for my community, for my family, and myself, you got to be thinking about these things. So I appreciate the question. And I hope that I answered it to a satisfactory level.
For sure, for sure. Go ahead, Sean.
I had a question for the brother Obafini, right? We're living at a time right now where, of course, we're seeing what happened with the SNAP benefit a few weeks ago, and we're seeing other things that are in the flux when it comes to the food industry and everything with the herbicides and all that stuff on the food and everything. What's the importance right now in having a community garden and having our herbalists and having these things, our natural healing and products? What's the importance of that right now to you?
That's a great question. I think the major importance, if you look at just people in general worldwide, any group of people who don't have stake in where their food comes from is subject to anybody else who controls their food, right? So our sustenance that's tied to food is in direct relationship to the state of health, like holistically in our community. So, um, we it's very important right now, and it's something I've been advocating for. We call it food sovereignty. So this is beyond food security. This is, we people have identified like what we call food deserts and food swamps. So we have to move beyond what people say is food security to be able to control the production, um, as well as being stewards of the land in general. Um, any any time where we are, I would say, displaced from our communities or we're displaced from the land, it kind of breaks up that natural connection that we have to the land as a people. So we're talking about our healing. We're talking about the materials that we need to construct communities, build homes. All of the things that we need are tied to the land. Um, and so it's very critical at this point in time that we look to community gardens, food co-ops, healing circles, land conservation, how looking into alternate forms of energy sources, so solar technology, water conservation. All of those things are tied into this. Um, it's I think it's a very grand scale of looking at it from we just gotta eat, but this goes into our basic needs, our food, clothing, shelter, safety, security is all tied to this.
And if I can jump on the tail end of that, Mr. Obafemi, I appreciate the work that you do and the commitment that you have to the land itself and reminding us of the importance of it, because on a larger scale, like you said, herbalists to the front, farmers to the front, like this is our real livelihood. And besides there being nothing like a fresh tomato or a fresh vegetable, like we literally have to fight for our health. Me and Sean P talk about this a lot of times. There's all this stuff going on medically. There's all these new diseases, all this cancer going on. It's like, okay, how people are wondering, what can we do? And it goes back to what you just said, like going back to our connectivity, the grounding. So on multiple levels, our connection with the land is so important. I appreciate the work that you do and the way you answer that. I feel like you, how you responded to that helped people see like how important it is on a real scale, because your feet are on the ground and you're giving us the game as far as how we can keep ourselves healthy and propel our culture forward.
Yes. He wrote a great piece in the agriculture section. Hopefully, I'm putting him on the spot. Hopefully we can get him to be not just a spot writer, but also a contributor, a part of the staff, writing staff, because that's an important piece, the agriculture piece, and he laid it out, from different perspectives on why we need to be attached to the land, why we need to look to the land, why we need to have food sovereignty, what it all details, the importance of food, clothing, and shelter. So, hopefully we'll be able to keep the agriculture section in the Aceli magazine. So check out his piece. That's why you see maybe 6 or 7 pages of these are things that's on that they're actually growing on the ground. So those pictures that is in the magazines are things that through their labor that they was able to produce, what I'm saying, from out of the ground, man. So appreciate you for your contribution to which was a new section in the magazine, the agriculture section in the magazine, man. So definitely appreciate that. Um let's talk about let's go into and I'll direct this question to Juvenile to the other ones get on the panel. We have a few minutes before the next one pops on the panel. And those who on the panel, if y'all want to stay, y'all can stay. We got 4 more. We got Winter for Summers. We got RBG Bata, Obi Wajumi, and Tyree Jennings, who's also going to come on the platform. But my question to Juvenile is, let's see. What stories do you feel our community needs more and why?
Ooh, we definitely need more real Black history stories, more historical fiction. I like the historical fiction because at least it taps into both. You'll learn something and have a good time reading the story. But anything that has to do with history, literally, I think they need to read more poetry. Again, poets have been, for the cause, for the Black folks for years and years and years. I think poetry needs to be more read and more discussed, more studied. You will learn so much more about yourself with poetry. I guarantee you that. And also, history is like the biggest one to me. History, mainly history. We need more history. We know that's not being taught in schools. We know that. I love the fact that brother, he's doing homeschooling. I'm getting ready to start doing some homeschooling myself. I had to have an argument with family members because they didn't understand what I was trying to do. I was like, you know what? I didn't really learn nothing about myself in school. I don't want my son to grow up and be in the same predicament that I was in. So history is number one. I think more history, more of our history need to be read and taught. Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. My particular lane is historical nonfiction. A lot of my books that I've written has been historical nonfiction. You know, history is the most important and vital tool that we need a part of
Yeah.
this revolution. This is one element
Yeah.
of as many aspects to the revolution, but history and education is definitely a key element within
Yeah.
our revolution. And you mentioned something as well as historical fiction.
Yeah.
That's also another part. Those who are creative, who also love of history themselves.
Mhm.
Historical fiction is based off real historical events that may be told with a twist with different characters, but it
Yeah.
has that teaching element. It
Yeah.
definitely, if you want to be entertained, because a lot of us, we wants to be entertained too. We
Yeah.
don't want it to be too boring. Some of us, we don't mind the historical nonfiction, reading
Mhm.
2, 3, 400 pages. That's our forte. Those are things that we love and we enjoy to do. But we
Yeah.
have those who don't. So we have to bring in that historical fiction part where it becomes entertaining,
Yeah.
because there's also an element when it comes to our culture and our tradition as well. When you
Mhm.
look at most of us, and I'm not going to say most of us, every last one of us on this panels are griots and griotes. Whether you say you are or not, you are operating in those capacities. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So a griot also was, they did performance arts. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So they did performance and doing the storytelling. They were entertaining. So they was reacting out different things that happen, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, in their environment, that it happened in their culture, and they was educated them through the arts, through the performance arts, you know what I'm saying, of entertaining other ones. So that entertaining piece is definitely a vital piece when you're saying historical fiction. And I think a lot of us, or more of us, need to tap into a lot of those historical fiction
Yeah.
books, man. And one of my
Yeah.
favorite authors right now is, and I have all of her books, and that is Jonah Vassar. And I
Mm-hmm.
have all of her
Mm-hmm.
books, and she's a phenomenal historical fiction. And this is just the first series of her Black series. She has 5
Mm.
series, and she has other books, but this is like, for me, it's like the top shelf. So
Mm.
um we definitely need to tap
Yeah.
into that.
I had a question, Kofi.
Hmm.
Before we kind of transition out to the next wave, right? For the brother
Hmm.
Nick, the meta catalyst on the panel, right? This is my question, brother Nick. How can we make politics more palatable for the layperson, right? What I'm saying that is, we know we live in a time right now where it's kind of interesting because the consequence of certain choices is more immediate. It's not like wait 3 or 4 years and then you're gonna feel it. A lot of choices are getting immediate impact right away. So we know it's important, but like politics kind of like eating Brussels sprouts or asparagus, where you know it's important, but it's like not the most appeasing thing. How do we make it more palatable for the everyday person to say, you know what, for 15, 20 minutes a day or whatever it is, I'm gonna tap in to some politics and be abreast of what's going on. How do we do that?
I think this is the question of the decade, the century, if you will. And I just want to ground it in a simple answer. Everything is political. So when our brother Obafemi talks about food sovereignty, one thing that he didn't mention is food apartheid. So they say you got food deserts, food swamps, but we living in a man-made food desert. So this is an apartheid that we see particularly in areas that if you look at it just at a simple glance, you'll see the demographics shake out to be people who have historically been oppressed. So if you grow up and the only grocery store you got is a Family Dollar, if you got to go to the rec or to the McDonald's to do your homework, and you get tired of your circumstances, it becomes impossible for you to deny that these are effects of, okay, who's the decision maker? Oh, these people are elected, and this however many of us it is. So I think that the thing that we really need to be focusing on is a cultural revolution. That is why I talk so much about how we reform and transform the culture as opposed to how many more degrees we need to go out and get. I think that if you look at history, if you look at the role of the griot and grioti, those are storytellers. Those are our cultural carriers from one generation to the next. And I feel like, and this is where I'll land the plane, the past 30 to 40, maybe 50 years of our cultural carriers have just utterly failed us. And that's my radical take. We have transitioned from a world of Elaine Locks, um, Sam Cooks, even Marvin Gaye's, to now our young boys, our Kodak Blacks at the White House with a Haitian flag on the same day an executive order comes out to revoke the protected status of Haitians. So where are our cultural carriers for this generation that have the platforms? And then it ties back to, I believe the name was Vasa, their question of diverging from Eurocentric cultures and norms. Because when we look at who's the architect behind a lot of these platforms, you will immediately identify that they aren't aligned with our worldview and our priorities of how we get free. So that calls upon us, and that forces us to really sit with the fact that we have to be the ones to not only carry our culture, but to pour the concrete and to build the foundation and to create the platforms and institutions that stand on top of those foundations. In a closing quote from Kwame Ture, this is something that's top of mind for myself as a college student in 2025. He said, if we want collective liberation, you might not be able to go take that internship at IBM or go work that job at GM. You might need to look within your community and build new companies and institutions that invest in and care about and have the perspectives of your people. So that is how I believe it's not going to be no overnight view, but it's going to be a protracted struggle of how we transform our culture and design incentives that people truly care about once they realize every single action they take is political. So thank you so much for letting me hit that last point, because I feel like that was what I wrote that article about. A Southern Dispatch for 2026 is our forward guidance to where we could blend the historical perspectives with a future focused mandate on what it is we need to do. So thank you so much for that question, and thank you so much for the time.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, we have Obi Wajumi. We have brother RBG Bata. We have Winifred Summers, and I will need since Sus been on both things, Juvenile, can you allow brother Tyree to get back on the panel?
Yes, I sure can. And I enjoyed this so much. Thank you so much. And happy 1 year anniversary to Asili. This is so
Yes.
dope. All of you are beautiful people. I enjoyed myself so much. Thank you.
Yes, and we thank you as well. She's one of our one of our day one. She's been a contributor almost since it's been in conception. So we definitely appreciate our beautiful sister, and we'll definitely be talking. I'll definitely be talking with you. I want to chop it up with you about a few things later on today if you're free.
Okay.
All right, peace,
All right.
sis. All right,
All right, y'all.
brother
Bye,
Tyree,
y'all.
you can hop back. You can hop on the panel, brother Tyree, if you are trying to get back on. All right, so brother brother, our beautiful sister Winifred Summers, please introduce yourself, and then we'll let RBG Bata introduce himself, and then we'll let Obi Wajumi introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be here. My name is Winifred Summer, also known as the HR Darling, HR professional that you can talk to about what's going on in the workforce. I'm an HR specialist. I'm also an author and a growing entrepreneur. So thank you so much for having me.
Okay, thank you, sis. Go ahead, RBG Batar, and then Obi Wajumi.
Race first, I'm RBG Patar. I am, of course, a member of Team RBG. And on the side, yeah, we everywhere. We deep. So anyway, on the side, I also have 3 initiatives going on. They're under the name of my program, RBG Ubuntu Cadets. And we are about teaching children Pan-Africanism, not this guided, scripted in a box, Eurocentric ideology to grow other Negroes, but we're trying to produce more Ibrahim Traore's. We want our children to see that and step up to the mic and understand what's going on and not have this rose-colored image of what world is, and I'm supposed to be in this position, I'm supposed to watch my people starve, I'm supposed to watch them beat my people down. Not at all. That's not what we're trying to produce. Outside of that, like I said, I'm a member of Team RBG. Big deal for me. Race first, family.
Race first. Go ahead, Obi Wajumi.
BB48, race first, everyone. My name is Obawajumi Olafio Yinka. I am a proud member as well of Team RBG. And it's a pleasure to be here this evening and with you all on this panel. And want to thank you once again, Brother Kofi, for allowing me to be a part of your anniversary edition of the Asili magazine. Congratulations to you and to your team. And it's an honor to be here.
No doubt. So, our beautiful sister, Dr. Ashley Wade, you can start off this segment. Go with whoever you wanna go with.
You know what I want to do? I want to ask Tony a question before we meet and tap into with our other writers. Peace, y'all. I'm so happy that y'all are here. I want to hear from my sister real quick. She works with the unique population herself. She's a teacher. And my question to you, Tony, is what stereotypes do you aim to challenge or dismantle through your work or your representation? Can y'all hear me okay? Because representation matters. How we show up in spaces matters. So I wonder from you, what stereotypes do you aim to challenge or dismantle through your work and presentation?
As a teacher, I strive to dismantle the same stereotypes I believe growing up, which were that we were a people who came from nothing. We were a people who have always had to struggle, that we all came from slavery. I try to challenge those things by showing them accurate history, reading accurate stories, telling them our stories of triumph, telling them the stories of how we have tried over the years, and some successful and some have been taken from us. Things that we have done to make ourselves better people. So I'm constantly showing not only the African American kids at my school, but the other races who might think that we are inferior in some way, how we have always tried and strived to be better despite all of the things that are against us. And I feel like that's one of my main goals. I'm glad you asked me that question. Because one of my main goals as a teacher is to make sure that the history is being told correctly. And as a social studies history teacher, world history, US history, whatever narrative I'm spinning, I'm always making sure like the kids know the truth, and they know where to look for sources to find more information about the truth. I'm telling them about going to the library to read on their own. I'm encouraging them to like um have their own like what do you call it? Their own curiosity about themselves, their history, their culture, and not just to accept what's being told to them in a textbook or even by me. I even tell them that I could be wrong. So always seek your own knowledge and always be open to receiving knowledge and never think you know it all. And I'm constantly, if you ever meet one of my kids, they probably tell you I get on their nerves because I'm always like, read something, learn something. Even when you're on break, I'm like, read a book, pick up a newspaper. Like, because so many of our kids are not interested in reading. They're interested in tablets and phones and in the social media. So just trying to capture their attention quick enough to say, hey, learn something outside of what's being pushed in your face, because what's being pushed in your face is not always what's good for you. So that's the role that I play in the education system, like trying to get them to look at things from several different perspectives.
Much love to you and your work that you do on a daily basis, because we do have some homeschooler um, folks in our chat, you know what I'm saying? And I like that they're gonna get ready to tell us about the amazing work that they do. But I also wanted to give you some time just to tell us like what's the landscape, what's out there, and how are you impacting kids on a regular basis. Thank you so much for that, Tony.
Yeah, no problem. And great job to people who homeschool. I met another lady who homeschool, and she was telling me about their program. And it's like, as a person who's homeschooling a small group of children, that is a lot. And to do all the research and know all of the developmental milestones. So, a lot of credit to those who homeschool and who are actually putting in the work.
Sean, you want to go or you want me to ask the next question to the next panelist?
Yeah, I'll give it a go before I get out. I gotta go to work, so I get my last question before I get out of here, man. I want to ask a question to the sister Winifred Summer, the HR specialist, right? So, living in the time right now where there are so many misconceptions about the job market, like how to properly go about even applying for a job and what your resume should look like and what kind of career should you be searching for. How do we go about separating the myth from the reality of the job world, in your opinion?
Good question. And that's kind of why I chose to write about the topic that I did, because I feel like a lot of people are expecting a quick turnaround. Like you apply for a job and then in a couple weeks, you're getting a job offer. And today the workforce is really, really different. It's really rough out here right now, which is why I wanted to kind of, I guess, give the advice that most people probably don't want to hear. So I just tell people to realize that it's a process, it's a journey, that you do have to be patient. You may have to stretch a little bit. You may not be able to get a job that's exactly like the job that you just left. You may have to pivot a little bit. You may have to try something different. You may need to reach out to people that you know in your inner circle. You may need to go to networking events. You may need to put yourself out there, even though I'm not the biggest fan of like a LinkedIn, but just let people know that you are looking for work. So I just think that people need to realize that the workforce is very different now. Yes, we have AI. Yes, we have all of these amazing tools, but that's not a guarantee to any job, honestly. Yes, you can use the tools. Yes, they can be helpful, but a lot of people, or should I say some people, are starting to rely on these tools to get them from point A to point Z. And sometimes it does work, and, celebration for those that it worked for, but it doesn't work for everybody. So I hope that kind of answers the question.
Yes. And Winifred is also one of our day ones on the writing staff. She's contributes to the career section in the magazine as well. From time to time, I appreciate her for that. She'll delegate her task. She may do the career and she may tag team with Brother Sean and they do the movie. So this issue, you will see her on the magazine twice. She's in the career section and then she's also in the Are You Entertained section where they go over some of our classic movies and break it down, and then they rate it by you know what they got out of the movie, et cetera, et cetera. So we definitely appreciate you, Sister Winifred. RBG Patah, I got a question for you. What does controlling our narrative mean to you?
Controlling our narrative is the crux of Black media. I think it should be the forefront of Black media because They've been controlling the narrative for us for the longest. They have been controlling the narrative. And I'll use this example. Good Times. They gave us an image that they wanted us to see. They wanted us to mold our families after that. And I'm only bringing this up because Esther Roll, talked about it. Esther Roll and John Amos both ended up leaving the show, or they argued with the people all the time because they kept wanting to put this image of a single black mother out there struggle. That's all they wanted us to have was struggle. And she was like, nah, let's keep the two parent thing going so we can encourage people that this is what's normal. This is what we should be doing. So us controlling the narratives is we need to tell our people how we feel, what we experience, instead of allowing the dominant society to keep trickling down who we are, what we feel. Most of our information comes from jails, prisons, rap. It comes from the negative side of us. And I'm not saying all rap is bad, but it comes from a negative side. They always, they shine the light on everything negative about us. Anything negative. They'll take the worst of our entertainers and put them up there. And I don't really want to call names, but people that have a little bit of talent, but they have no education, they have no morals, no values, and that's who they want us to idolize. So we have to control the narrative. And like the sister was saying earlier, we have to, she used the word milestone. We got to utilize those milestones. We absolutely have to use those milestones to develop and stop using AI just to get to Z. We start out at A and get to Z, but you didn't develop along the way. If there's no development, how could there be growth?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, family, I'm big on us controlling narratives. Just real quick. So the reason why I do the thing I do, in other countries is because I don't like their curriculums. I don't like the school curriculums. So instead of me coming back complaining to you about it, I'm doing something about it. I don't like the fact that in Africa, children have to pass Islam, Judaism, and Christianity in order to graduate. I don't like the fact that in order to get a job in Africa, you have to change your name to Bob or Steve. You can't be recognized as Mobutu, who you really are. So we have to control the narrative. So every country I go to, the very first thing I do, and by the way, I don't go to European countries. Every country I go to and I see my people, I ask them what's their name. And then they'll say, oh, my name is Steve. Nah, what's your African name? What's your real name? And then they tell me, and we build a bond just on the fact that they're allowed to express who they really are. They don't have to be Steven all day. They get a chance to be Mobutu. So we have to control the narrative finally, because if we don't control the narrative, these people will keep giving our youth a narrative that they want them to follow. And we're going through that right now. We're going through that right now, family. You know what I'm talking about. I don't want to make it an issue, but we're going through that right now. The colonizers are giving out one narrative, and our historians are giving out a different narrative. Our historians, there's no historians over here. The colonizers are just putting out misinformation, but our historians are telling us the truth. And sadly, we're losing them right now. So that's why people like you are important, Kofi. You a griot. You're not that old, brother, but you're here now. And you got to step in and fill out some of these shoes. So yeah, we have to control our narrative. Important, very important. And not controlled from their perspective, from the perspective of the people that employ you. Mm-hmm. All right, I'll give you one name. Stephen A. Smith can't tell me nothing. He's a paid bootlicker that's telling us what he wants, what the establishment wants him to tell us. He's not giving us our narrative. He's giving them a script. I think that's the difference. They give scripts, and we have to give narratives of actual facts, actual history. My apologies for being long-winded.
Yeah, I appreciate that. You said they giving scripts and we giving narrative. It's definitely important for us to tell our story from our perspective, from our own worldview. This is something that I've been talking and been preaching for a long time. We got to start telling our stories because we are letting outsiders tell our stories. You know what I'm saying? And that's not that is not our true stories, right? So we got to start. That's why it's important for all of us that's on this panel and those who made it through the other different segments for us to continue to tell our story. On the way that we able to tell and to preserve our stories is We have to create it. We have to create that through the writings. We have to create these. We have to create podcasts so we can tell our stories. We have to be the voices for our own stories. You know what I'm saying? We have to create content. We have to put stuff, you know what I'm saying, on social media, just like, like that do. So it's important, especially through the writings, for us to tell our stories from our own perspective and from our own worldview. A lot of things that we read now, that we are reading, a lot of these people are Arabs who are telling our story. A lot of these people are I'm just being honest. A lot of these people are Europeans, you know what I'm saying? European explorers, European, you know what I'm saying, missionaries who are telling our stories. If you look through a lot of our historical data, it's not a lot of us that is writing these writing and contributing to our narrative. These are other people who so-called who have came into the interior of our motherland and are telling their stories on how they perceive things. Like our worldview and our perspective is totally different than every other culture, and that's vice versa. You know what I'm saying? Asian culture, Japanese culture is different than Chinese culture. And even in Africa, you have so many different ethnicity groups. All of the cultures mirror, but they are, a little different. So a lot of, and even with our worldview and how we see things and how we see the world, you know what I'm saying, and how they see the world. And when they begin to tell it, they tell it from their perspective and don't tell it from our perspective. Like everything in existence, you know what I'm saying, is energy. Everything, we are nature, but we have been taught through their perspective that we are outside of nature. We're not a part of nature, when in all essence, we are a part of nature. Everything is energy, right? You know what I'm saying? And we honor and we revere everything in nature. We understand that we need the trees, so we revere and honor the trees because they produce the oxygen and so forth that we need. They also produce shelter that we need. So we talk and we pray to the tree before we cut the tree down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just giving those as an example because our worldview and perspective is totally different. So it's important for us to start telling our stories, you know what I'm saying, from our own perspective and from our own worldview. Dr. Ashley Wade, I'll let you ask the next question, and then we'll let our sister Tony ask the next.
Okay, good people. I want to ask Winifred a question. It's kind of a twofold question, and I'm going to be just clever with it and try to squeeze them both in. But one of them is about your creative process, because in my mind, I feel like the topic and your expertise is, I would say, non-conventional, just because it's not talked about a lot. A lot of people in your field don't write. So I love that you are taking the initiative to share. And so that leads me to ask what your creative process is like. Do you like outline? Do you like to bring in stories and real world situations? Or how do you, prepare your piece for the magazine?
Great question. I honestly had a totally different piece that I was going to submit. And maybe within an hour of the deadline, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something a little different. So I wish I had a nice process that I could lay out, like, this is how I organize. But honestly, just my brain, I like to call it the HR brain, because everywhere I go, whether I'm somewhere, for leisure, or I'm at work, or I'm talking to friends and family, it just seems like every topic somewhere in there's something work related. And I just kind of pull from these different experiences. And I think about it from my perspective as an HR professional, but then also as a person who, I've only been working in HR for about 10 years compared to some people who have had like a very lengthy HR career straight out of high school. This was a career change for me. And so I feel like I'm still very curious. I'm still learning, and I'm still just pulling information from everywhere and trying to, look through it with my HR eyes. So that's really how my process works.
I appreciate that you said that, because a lot of times when people think of like being a writer that think it has to be super structured all the time. Like, oh, it's got to have this, and this, which is important as far as formatting. But sometimes it's okay to just, pull from those experiences and share. That's a part of that storytelling piece. So I wanted to get that out. And then lastly, the authenticity piece in the workplace. Is there room for authenticity as a Black woman, Black man? I'm just curious about your take on that.
I think there's always room for authenticity.
Yeah.
I think it's welcomed. I feel like the more the better. I just think that it's important, especially as a Black woman, that we understand that everyone has their own experience. Just because I say, hey, I love my job, or, and I'm talking about maybe some of the positives of working in HR, because I truly do love working in HR, where, a lot of people think we're public enemy number one. But just because that's my experience, that doesn't mean that I'm taking away from others who are sharing things that may not be so positive. I definitely do my best to be realistic. So, I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to give it to you straight, but I'm also going to try and share different sides. There's always a different perspective, and I'm always open and welcome to hearing what other people have to say. But I think it's important for any writer to really show up as themselves, whatever that may look like, and for people to respect their authenticity. You can disagree, but I think there's a place for everybody to share their voice.
All right. Sister Tony, do you have a question you want to ask one of the panelists?
I don't know if it's more of a question, but it was just maybe wanting to probe a little bit more into what the gentleman said earlier. He said about how a lot of our entertainers are script writers, and not actually giving us like that real knowledge to help make our people better. They're just reading from a script. I just wanted you to like elaborate a little bit more on that. I love the direction you were going with that.
Excellent question. It's simple. If you look right now, you'll see a lot of entertainers are doing podcasts. A lot of people who were hot at one point, most of the athletes, but a lot of entertainers now do podcasts. And not one of those podcasts are about uplifting or helping the people. Everybody got a voice. They all have voices now. But think back to when at the height of their voice, they didn't use their voice on behalf of the people. So now that they're retired or pushed out, everybody and their mama has a podcast. And every podcast is very controversial. They want to bring on ex-basketball players and talk about what was going on in the locker room. They want to talk about the stuff that was going on in Hollywood. But again, when they were at the height of their career, they had nothing to say for the people. They didn't want to step out on behalf of the people. But I don't want to point the finger at them. I'll be honest with you. I point the finger at us, because we're the ones that support them. We're the ones that push their information around. I didn't see. Kofi just sent me the promo for this yesterday. I'm not trying to put you on the spot either, brother. So I posted it, and I had like 10 people ask me, "What is a silly magazine? What is that?" Instead of Googling it, checking it out, they wait on. My point is that he's not as big as he should be. More people should understand or know or be familiar with a silly magazine. But everybody know what Gilbert Arenas podcast is. They know what Kwame Brown podcast is. They know all these people that have podcasts. My point is that they're getting scripts. The colonizers are telling them what they can and cannot say and how to keep us corralled. Whereas right here, you're getting some raw information. You're getting real life information that applies to you. I'm dying to hear the sister that was speaking about the HR speak a little more, because I got questions. But that's my point. My point is that they're giving scripts. You sign that contract, they're paying you millions of dollars. You're given scripts to write, to say. You don't get to say what you want to say. You don't get to kneel down like Colin Kaepernick and protest. You don't get to do that because they control that purse string. They control that purse string. They tell you what you can say, what you can't say, where to do the interview, where not to do the interview. But here we're raw and uncut. We get to say exactly what we know our people need to hear because we're not worried about being controlled by the purses. The purse don't control us. I know Kofi. I haven't known him for years, but I know the brother. Had great conversation with him in Baltimore. I know he's not controlled by anybody on this panel. Oh, I can't say this because the doctor's gonna feel this way. That brother absolutely says exactly what he feels and what he sees. And it's important that we get that. We don't get that too often. That's why I was kind of like ushering you right into being a griot for the people. So anyway, sister, the point that I'm making is that these people with money generally have scripts. They know what they can say, what they can't say. Can't nobody tell me right now. So I'm in Brooklyn. Can't nobody tell me why there's not a short story. I don't know if y'all know it. To open a bank, it only takes you being backed by 3 millionaires. You only need 3 millionaires to back you. And you can open a bank. What is stopping these millionaires from opening a bank called the RBG blank and giving us loans at a base pay? They make like $10 off of that money, whatever. If I'm a time home buyer, you front me the money and let me pay you back in increments. What's stopping them from doing that? Exactly. I think we all know the answer, but we're not going to blurt the answer out. Capitalism writes their script. Capitalism writes their check. So they can't come and do that, but they will come to Brooklyn, give out 500 turkeys. They'll give out 500 turkeys to the homeless who have nowhere to cook them, but they'll come and sell them to other people and they'll go and pass the turkeys out. I have $2 or $3 in my pocket. I'll buy the turkey from him. He'll go and buy a bottle of wine to keep himself warm that day. So it's cycles of ignorance that we're dealing with. And people are caught up in this capitalist trash, but that's another story. But you're right, sister. They are reading from scripts. All you got to do is watch it. Every one of them saying do the same thing. Cars, guns, money, whatever. I got this, you ain't got it. Scripts. This whole thing has been scripted. I can say it, I'm almost 60. I've been watching the same cycle for almost 60 years, watching the exact same thing. Rise to fame, get money, help 2 or 3 people out, nothing else.
Yeah, I have found that it's very important nowadays. Like when I do hear something or I'm listening to somebody, I go back and I research them. Like, what are you doing for the community? Where is your base? Like where's everything you're doing coming from? And that helps me to understand whether this is somebody I need to keep listening to or not. So I appreciate you expanding on that.
Yeah, no doubt. I got a question for Obi Wajumi. What responsibilities do Black writers and editors have when representing our community in publications?
I think that question is a very good question. It's I think it's a thing of being as real as possible, giving people the truth and giving people reality, not basing it off of fantasy in terms of the perception of our community, our people, and where we're at right now. To be very honest, forthright, and just giving them the real. I think sometimes we feel as though if we give our people the real, it will, petrify them and scare them, where they where they'll be in an apathetic type of state, and they won't want to do anything because they're so scared of doing things, because you're presenting a reality and a truth to them that they may not necessarily feel as though that they can handle. But I think that our people can handle more than what we think. I think that we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. And we have to realize that we have to be very, very honest and truthful with our assessments. That's the only way that people are going to grow. That's the only way that people are going to evolve. That's the only way that people are going to be able to course correct the things that they need to course correct in their lives. We have to be very, very truthful. So in some senses, brutally truthful with our people, because we're at a very critical juncture in our history. We're at a very critical juncture as a people. I'm talking about Black people, people of African descent, African people. So the more reality that we give them, the more that they can basically put everything on the table and look at where they want to position themselves and be. And when I say position themselves and be, I'm talking about putting themselves in a position where they are a part of the solution instead of continuing to exacerbate and perpetuate the problems that already exist. So I think that it's really about reality. It's about them being honest and truthful with the people and not lying to them. You know what I mean? It's not about trying to scare people. It's really about trying to break them out of that apathetic state, out of that state of powerlessness and, of fear. You know what I mean? That's necessary. It's essential in this day and time.
No doubt. And you said a lot, being honest and being truthful. There's a lot of people that's in the literary world, even, in the broadcasting spaces where they're not being honest. A lot of them know the truth, but the truth doesn't sell. The truth is not appealing. So they will create, what I'm saying, and disperse these different lies, what I'm saying, when they knowing it's not the truth, because the lie is more entertaining. The controversial piece is more entertaining. So we find a lot of ourselves writing about the controversial pieces, what I'm saying, and most of the controversial pieces are pieces on Black people, what I'm saying? So we are operating in a space of white supremacy, what I'm saying? Because and it's the honest truth. A lot of us don't look at it like that, because we are pushing the agenda. When you look at the totality and peel back the layers of what white supremacy is, a lot of us are operating in the space of white supremacy, and we are doing their jobs when we're writing. Because I'm an avid reader. So I see a lot of it through the reading, because I understand what proper research methodology is. So I don't take things on face value. So I know how to go and comb through information and dissect information and see how they arrive to their conclusions. I'm looking at the consensus, the popular consensus. I'm looking at all those different things. So, but again, the lies are more entertaining. The controversial pieces are more entertaining. So a lot of times when we do those things to make a buck, what I'm saying, we are operating in a space of white supremacy. Go ahead, Dr. Ashley Wade.
I wanted to jump on the back of something he said. He said, we need to be broken out of the apathetic state. And what makes me happy about A Silly Magazine is whenever people are open to coming out of that, there's material available that is entertaining. It includes so many stories. It includes history. We're really tapping into that space that people are going to need and are tapping into now, who are coming into their awareness, because there's a lot of apathy out there. I've heard even local people say, I don't have books in my store about Black trauma. Like, this is the current rhetoric in some spaces and places. So I think, having material available that encompasses, culture available, digital, or you can get the physical copy, as far as a representation of like catching people up to speed. This is what's going on, because what we talk about and what we say inspires people, in my opinion, to go back and research and read based off the things that we say, because we're relatable at this time where people are slowly coming out and saying, okay, now I care, versus, I don't want to read about Black trauma. Like, and speaking to that point about historical fiction, that's a whole play. People are tapping in there, but those authors understand that you do have to tap into the people's curiosity and give them some history. And that's a play. So that's what makes me the most grateful about A Silly, because we're doing all the things. We got the streetwear, we have poetry, we have history, we have healing. There's so much that catches people up to right now as far as what's going on. So shout out to the tribe.
No doubt, no doubt. And these are like she said, I don't have the physical copy of the 6th issue yet, but it's on the way. But these are some of the things that we're producing, and we doing it like every other month. So we put out 6 issues every once a year. So we've finally made it to our 1 year mark. So this is the first edition, the very first edition that came out November the 1st of 2024. Right here it has my son on the front of the magazine right there. He's also an author. He's an athlete at his high school. We have the second edition. The second edition here, it has D. Lewis and A. Lewis. Both of those. Her husband is a book narrator who also narrated our book, Acting on Our Dreams and Your Visions, along with Flo Davis to narrate Dr. Ashley Wade piece in the book. And A. Lewis is a phenomenal urban writer, and I'm so proud of this sister because this year she has turned it up a notch. So she's been dropping books like left and right. She done been on the platform twice. We done partnered with her and her Bray organization. Shout out to her. She had
She's amazing.
A Bray event that just happened that she does every year. She had 247,000 people who came to her platform that also helped out. I had within the 3 days, I think it was 3 or 4 days of the Bray event, I had, I think, 8,000 people to come across my website within those 3 to 4 days. We had 16 or 1,700 downloads. Acting on Your Dreams and Vision was at the top of all those other downloads that we have. So shout out to her. Third edition, I finally met Brother Akil. He was at Baltimore. He was at the Race First conference as well. So I took a picture with him, and he's been on the platform twice already. I think he's been on the Griots Podcast, and he's been on my Warrior Scholar podcast. This is Akil Parker, who is a phenomenal mathematician, right? And he's have got me to looking, which is true. Everything, what I'm saying, that we involved with has something to do with math, what I'm saying? So shout out to him. This is the 4th edition right here with Equate and her daughter at the Pan-African Connection in Dallas, Texas. They are doing some phenomenal things. I've been to the big bookstore out there. She's allowed me to come in her space. I did a book signing about a year and a half ago with the Pan-African Connection in Dallas. Dr. Ashley Wade, she works with them. She supports them and everything that they got going on. She also has a forum or something too as well. She's growing Quete there. So she's doing a whole lot for the community out there. I got to get back out there out there to one of the events. I definitely do. So this definitely I was proud that we was able to do put them on the front of the cover.
Facts. And Mr. Quete just won a Lifetime Achievement Award here. So I just want to add that on. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Shout out to the elder Quete. This is the 5th edition right here. This is a young woman, Dee Powell, who was doing a lot of the community work, in her community, so shout out to her with the South Dallas Food Park, she's providing spaces for people to come in and curate and make a profit, and sell their products and etc. So this is the 5th issue, and then I'll throw back up here again. I don't have the physical copy yet, but I'll have it soon. This is the 6th issue right here. This is again powerful brother, one of our brothers, Baba M. Hotep, right here. The name of this issue is Journey Toward Liberation, and that is definitely what we're on a journey for liberation in so many different aspects. And that's so I was proud to have him on the front of the cover, and proud to attend his race first convention that he had in Baltimore this past October. Let me try to get this past October. So if you want any of those issues, go to the link in my bio. Go to Dr. Ashley Wade link in the bio. Go to Sean link in the bio, or any other. Reach out to any other the contributors. That has been writing pieces, like we have Obi Wajumi, and RBG Batar. They was our spot writers. Hopefully we probably can get them to be a part of the staff. We have a staff of 12 writers. We'll be glad to welcome them on if that's what they like. But if not, we have spaces for spot writers, because each issue we have our regular staff, and we always have spot writers who come on and write, for this particular issue. And if they choose to come back for another issue, they are, more than welcome to come. We got one of our day ones, Winifred Summers. I really appreciate you. And Winifred, what made you stay on the whole entire time? You've been on ever since. I think you was in the first issue. So what made you stay on the entire time, the entire ride, to be a contributor up to Acele magazine?
I mean, it's just a beautiful thing to be a part of, great community, wonderful contributors. And I feel like it's something that I feel has been missing. And so I'm just glad to be a part of it. I have my t-shirt. And so, I'm very proud to wear it when I'm out. And when people ask me about it, send them the link, point them to the website. So it really is an honor and a pleasure to even be asked to be a part of it again. And I'm very grateful, and I just love everything that everybody contributes.
No doubt. What about you, Tony? Tony is new. She's one of the supporters. She's a part of our media team now. She is the one to create the Instagram page for us. We've been needing an Instagram page for the longest, and people been saying why we don't have now. So she took the initiative to create the Instagram page for us. So what made you create the Instagram page and made you want to support and be a part of the Acele magazine?
I created the page just because I felt like there was a need, just because I saw the magazine issue after issue. I was enjoying all of the writing and all of the Black stories. And I was like, wait, and I would go to try to like tag the I like repost for y'all, and I try to tag it. I'm like, where is the silly mag? Where is the link for the Instagram? So I reached out to Dr. Wade. I reached out to you, and I'm like, hey, y'all need social media. I need, push this out, because like my guy was saying earlier, like more people should know about this. Like more people should be experiencing this, hearing these stories, because if we don't put the word out, we're not pushing it out, then nobody's just going to be sitting in the closet somewhere. We don't need to sit in the closet. We need it out there. We on the front of the stage. So that's why I said, hey, let's do the social media. And I support y'all just because I love Black history, I love Black stories, and I love the truth. And I feel like y'all represent all of those things. So
appreciate it, sis. So, and we steady growing. Acele magazine is steady growing. We're going into another year. We working on a few things that maybe expand it. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to talk too much about it, but but hopefully we'll be able to expand where we be able to get a good look. We'll be able to get some wholesale prices on some things, and even possibly paying, which is our goal, is to pay some of the contributors, what I'm saying, for, taking their time out to contribute to the Acele magazine, because this ain't my magazine. This is all of our magazine. You know what I'm saying? So I want people to stop saying my magazine. This is our magazine. This is all of our magazines. This is something that we all need. And I want to thank, my chief executive, Dr. Ashley Wade, who's on the panel. She is the chief executive, and has hit the ground running with the Acele magazine and making some realistic moves for with the magazine. And so, sis, talk to us about you being a day one. She's also is not only the chief executive, but she also contributes to the health and healing section of the magazine. We got so many different sections in the magazine, but what made you take the role as the chief executive, and what made you continue to be one of the day ones?
First of all, thank you so much, Kofi. I'll be like, don't gas me, Kofi, because I like that kind of stuff. But anyway, not too much because I will run with it. But I'm really grateful to have something tangible to share. And I'm in Dallas and I like to connect with people. So, I've tried to put the magazine in people's hands and bring back that culture of, flipping through the pages of a magazine, adult magazine. Everybody always talks about the quality of it. So if you haven't had a chance to put your hand on a physical copy, get with Kofi, get with me so you can have that experience. This will be a great one since it's our anniversary edition, but any of our issues, the quality has been 100. And so, being able to be in this role, thank you, Kofi, for even seeing that in me, gave me the opportunity to expand and to also be elevated by us. You know what I'm saying? Because in most of the job world, to Winifred's point, we have to wait on a promotion. You got to earn a promotion. And, they rate things differently than we rate things in the community. So I'm glad that you were able to see an opportunity and a skill set in me I hadn't tapped into yet. And so it stretched me out as a person, as a professional, and as a creative, because this is something new. And I'm having some really fun times having new experiences with a silly magazine. So I appreciate the opportunity, Kofi.
For sure.
I just wanted to add on to I got a chance to see a physical copy, but I haven't had a chance to get a physical copy. So hopefully I get one soon because that physical copy hits different. I love the digital platform, but that physical copy in your hand, it hits different. And it's like it's a different experience. Yeah.
It's definitely like a coffee table piece. It's one of those. And again, everybody has said about the quality, the visuals. And we're just getting started. There's more that we're gonna bring to the fold, but it's beautiful. And it's something that we can be proud of too, to have and to share with your families and stuff like that. Because sometimes, folks will, you're in a magazine or you're something in some type of notable source, and it's like, oh, okay. And it's like happenstance, but we appreciate the ability to like have something tangible. Hey, I worked on this. This was a magazine I was a part of. I was featured in this. Like, this is something that we can take pride in as a culture and as individuals, because we're dope as individuals, but as a culture and a community, something that we can be proud of for real.
No, definitely, because that's what we're about: culture, creativity, and community. Those are the three principles of the magazine. And Obi Wajuma and RBG Batar, I appreciate both of you being contributors. After I asked, because I asked them, I really wanted them their perspective to be a part of it, especially me having Bobby M. Hotep on the front cover, and they both personally know Bobby M. Hotep themselves. So I definitely wanted both of them to be involved in it, and they both are. I'm also a member of Team RBG as well. They're a member of Team RBG as well. So what made you both, after I reached out and asked, I said, man, I need y'all to contribute a piece to this issue, which is our 1 year anniversary, a celebration issue, and Bobby M. Hotep is going to be on the front of cover. What made you guys say, yes, I'm willing to be a part of it. I'm willing to carve out a few hours of my time to sit down, to use some of my brain power, some of my creativity, some of my dopeness to write something for this issue?
I'd say, first of all, I think that as I've gotten older, I've developed a love for literature and writing. I do a lot of reading, a lot of writing, and I like to write. It's very therapeutic for me to really put my thoughts down, on paper, and to really be able to feel comfortable in expressing myself, my ideas, my views on life and the world that we live in as an African. So for me, it was very, very important to be a part of it because, as I said before, we're at a very critical junction in our history. We're at a crossroads right now. And with everything that has been going on, even just the latest thing, just this past month or earlier in the month with the government shutdown and the fact that people weren't going to be receiving SNAP, but it's real. It's real out here on the battlefield, and a lot of people are going to suffer because of that. I mean, as a people, we constitute, and I'm talking about African people here in America, born and raised here in America, constitute 26% of the people who are on SNAP. That's not a lot, but you think about those 20. You think about the 26% that really rely on SNAP. It's going to be hard for them. You know what I'm saying? Brothers and sisters were talking about going and rioting in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Robbing, stores and stuff like that. They had to just to feed, their children, and their families. And with we have to look at that as a sign of the fact that we have to develop our own. We have to do for ourselves. And in the process of doing that, we need some kind of movement to bring us together. And this was all happening around the time of the National Race First Convention, which we all attended, myself, you, Baba Patah, attended. And the need for us to unite. That's why I wrote about operational unity. The idea of everything being laid out there, but at the same time, given importance in bringing us together, not just to bring us together for the sake of bringing us together, but to bring us together and to give us a sense of uniformity and at the same time, a sense of order and structure. Looking at the areas of importance where we as African people have to develop economically, agriculturally, technologically, educationally, spiritually, militarily, all those areas that have to be developed in order for us to become a self-sufficient, self-reliant, and self-sustaining people. We have to move towards that, because if not, by the end of the 21st century, we'll be extinct. And so we are at a crossroads right now, and we are at a very, very, very critical juncture in our history, not only in the country, but all over the world. And at the same time, there is great senses of hope that exist in different places of the world. When you look at the Sahel states on the continent, what they're doing in Mali and in Niger and in Burkina Faso, and what they're doing in parts of Ghana and in the Sudan and in Kenya, and even the work that we do with Team RBG and our international correspondents and comrades and allies that we work with, and the great work that they're doing over there. And Baba Patah talked about a little bit earlier, and what he does with the RBG Ubuntu cadets. It gives us a sense of hope, and we have to continue to work towards the development of not just unity, but operational unity. So for me to put my thoughts down on paper and to be able to contribute to this anniversary edition of Asili magazine, it was really, really important to me when you asked would I be a part of contributing. And without a doubt, there's no question, I definitely was honored to be a part of it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, man. What about you, Patah? RBG Patah.
Fam, I did it because you asked me. As simple as that, because you asked me. I talked to you. I'm definitely impressed with the things that you talk about, with your vision, what you're trying to get done, bruh. And I want to support that. The older I get, the one thing I realize is I'm supposed to be doing more. I'm not saying I should stretch myself thin, but I should be participating. The older I get, the more I should be able to give back. So if giving back is something as simple as me sitting down writing an article, that is not an issue, fam. You done sit down and talk to me. I got plenty I can flow about. I've spent years reading and studying and going to lectures and talking to people and traveling. And I definitely think that, I should share that with other people, my people. I need to share that with my people. I don't want people to still be talking about Uganda and they haven't been to Uganda, but I've been to Uganda. I literally went gorilla trekking in Uganda, so I can tell you stuff about Uganda. I'm not telling you what I read. I could tell you firsthand. I could even show pictures. But that's the point. I think the more of us need to write these things down to let people see it, hear it, read it, and research it. I think it's important. You know, you don't want to just hear Kofi say something slick and then just repeat it. You want to be able to research it. But if you say it, I can't really remember it. But if you write that down, it's like, page 36 of Vasily magazine. Kofi said that. I can go back and look at that. So I definitely want to be able to give my people information, but I also want them to have an opportunity to go back and reread it, pass it along, and research it. And sister, you said something that was powerful about the hand copy of that magazine. Brother, I don't even know if you realize that you revitalized something. Like I grew up when it was a bunch of magazines, like, yo, what's up with that Word Up? What's up with that Ebony? What's up with that Jet? That was a big deal for me to be able to touch that. All right, so of course we had to find the Jet Beauty, but that's another story.
We going there
Come
first.
on, bro. Come on, bro. We all had
going
to.
there first. And then
we all had to. It was important. But there was crazy articles in there. And I don't know if everybody remember, but Mamie Till, when her child died, she refused to close that casket and had that on the cover of every magazine. And that was a big deal for us back then. So here you are, you got a magazine. The more your word gets out of your magazine, the more impact people are going to have. It's not going to just be me talking. It's like, here, let me give you this Vasily magazine. Sit down and read that. And it's going to be very powerful because I didn't even know it was diverse as it was until I read it. Until I read it. That's when I realized how diverse it was. I'm like, damn. Read Obafemi article. He talking about garden. It was several articles in there that I thought was like, damn. I want to write about that next time. Nonetheless, family, you know, if you ask me, I'm definitely going to participate because I don't want to be an armchair RBG. I'm never going to be an armchair RBG. I'm always going to be proactive until my breath is gone. I have to be doing something. Even if it's something as small as me writing an article, I'm with it, family. So I'm always going to be available winning if you need me, fam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely appreciate that, man. Well, we coming to the end of the show, man. Dr. Ashley Wade, you can close out the show. You know, it's your last words again. Thank each and everybody that came on in different segments. Thank you, Winifred Summers, for coming on and being one of our day ones. But you can close it out. You can close us out, sis.
First of all, I want to thank everybody that tuned in with us today live. This is a historic moment right here for our culture and our people. Thank you to every single writer and contributor. Again, like Kofi said, from the continuous writers to the spot writers, we need information and we need wisdom. And I think we are the right people to drop that type of wisdom. In this age, as a part of history, thank you so much. Shout out to Kofi the Red Ranger for really help for not just spearheading the idea, but holding it down this whole time and being open to new things and having more people come on. I think it's been a beautiful process this year. And I'm really grateful to be a part of the fold. So my last words would be continue to seek and be liked so you can be you and max that shit out. And we will catch up with you next time. Peace and love.
Yep. And we are always about culture, creativity, and community. Peace, power, and respect. And we'll see y'all next time. We out of here.
Race first.
Race first, be before.